Hello and welcome, as today's date comes in that of Thursday, 19th day of November, 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel where, like always, all bets, trades, and of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. I've had to go several days with very little hydro and the internet, but very glad to have that back. And I'll talk about that later on. But for this one, I want to go over a Bitcoin against the United States dollar in every time frame, rather, from the longest to the shortest, and go over that of the Bitcoin Cash, a BCHA code, which is available on Binance. So those will be the two coins that I'll be going over within this video. Before we go into the multiple time frames, monthly all the way to weekly, daily, one of the things I want to focus on is what is the status, the story of the situation within each time frame. I mean, this one is going to be just starting to get overextended, rising above the 18 average of highs, something like that. But before then, I got all these Fibonacci lines, and I'm very close to deleting. I'm not going to do it yet. Where I right-click, and I'll push remove drawings. I've already done that in gold and so on and so forth, which is retracement from this high to this low, and it is just pierced, or it is just blasted well past the 76.4% Fibonacci level, and it's doing so within a mean way down here, price action 200, and then 100x gain, pretty much 20,000. We'll get to that very soon, and then it's much higher low retracement, which this is on a log scale. So if I'm just going to move this up so you can see the portion of the screen here. You can see on the bottom, got a bunch of other time frames on here. The time, it's 8:09 a.m. Eastern time as I'm doing this percentage scale, which is pretty cool. It gives you the percentage things are moving up. But this is also going to show you right here, the log scale, when you take it off, it looks like, oh my goodness, what a harsh correction. Yeah, when you look at it on the log point of view, no, you know what, it could have been deeper if it, but as it went, how does it recover from its move? It has this little bit of move down in here, which is lot less of one compared to that. And it doesn't have as big of rallies or holding them too much. This one here comes up and has a phenomenal one on its first move. Gets past the 23, the 38, the 61, and to the 76. Very big correction, but the large recovery phase from the March incident. And then continuously going higher is now, well, again, like I've stated, gotten well past that level. So to me, again, this thing is going to be facing what I would be considering here, that of weak resistance. When we go to the monthly time frame, we're going to see it. But before we even get to that, let's put a couple lines in on the screen, or at least one to, 2 lines. And I'll do so by switching the exchanges up to Bitstamp. And amongst these 2 lines, these are areas of what I consider to be that of weak resistance and levels. One, this is this was the upper end of previous high here. So as it was coming up in here, I figured amongst this breakout in here that it was going to be facing weak resistance to this high, and sure enough, it just has no problem getting past it amongst the weekly term time frame. Whereas this one is the start end. I mean, I got 17. I wrote in all 7s the rest of the way. 1 plus the slot machine. 177.7, all that. Why did I pick that number? Well, I just picked it because that was a cool number in the area I needed to do so. And when I looked on the daily time frame, and again, we're going to be doing multiple time frames a little bit different after I'm done this. But the point of what I want to say here, it comes up to this on October the 27th. So weak resistance. Okay, we spend about a week or so, and it breaks in on November the 4th. And a convincing leave, to say the least. But if I scroll back to the reason why I got the line in here, because it just matches this previous high here, that great move that I was talking about. But if we go back to 2017, that was an interesting number that I put in, because I can see here, and I didn't realize it was going to be wow this way. December 15th, it resists this level. It comes near it on December the 7th. But really, the high established on the 12th was 17,428, and we can see it was breaking that level. So maybe 428 might have been a better number to choose. Either way, as it goes, it breaks above it on the 16th, and the high was 19,377. The next day, the high was 19,666. Those are all-time highs. December 17th, day number 2, day 3, and really day 4. But that was it. 4 days where it really held and stayed above it for practically the entire time, and it's never ever seen it on any other days up until now. But really, not really, because it's resisting that level and it hasn't had a big breakout. But that's why I think, this is a big key level to put it in. It's the start. And I'm just going to push this button. It's going to fast forward fast. There we go. It's the start of a big test of the previous high, which again, I'm going to go as weak resistance. I'm going to remove those lines because they're not really needed. Now let's do the multiple time frames as I'm going at. And this is where the weak resistance comes into play. So here we are on the monthly chart. A situation in which it had this phenomenal up move from, this high in here. And as I'm going to go out, let's be a repeat because altcoins, they were just horrible as far as its movements, especially against the Bitcoin, up until March of 20, right in here. So on a break or a decent time consolidation at 20, we'll see if we have any type of repeat. But this run, which was phenomenal in itself for Bitcoin, was much, it was, I'm going to be using this word again later on, underwhelming. This great move was underwhelming in comparison to what all the other alternate coins did. Because if you look at what pretty much every single altcoin from March of 2017 to pretty much end of the year start, and really in most cases into late January 2018, January 15, 17, in some cases February, LITECOIN was December, that they were crushing the Bitcoin price from this point. But as it goes, we have a spot where we're at this level. Weak resistance to me means that at best it has a little bit of a pullback. I like to use that term for weak because, okay, what are you trying to do? Sell and get a buyback? What kind of buyback are you looking to get? What's the probability odds you're going to get it? Is it really worth the risk? And even in Bitcoin, okay, I've been waiting to buy this and this, and I wanted to save it all. They said 20,000, I'll get this kind of value for it. You know what? Now you're at the point where, okay, do you want to do your action now? Do you want to start profit taking a little bit? What's your, and just go over your different strategies, because to me, the message of the market for different time frames obviously changes. I mean, just amazing bull run, correctionary phase, okay, attempt to break down, establishing support, okay, correcting from this move, okay, well, okay, it's not breaking down either of the highs, okay, so establishing this little high in there, becoming neutral and choppy, and okay, making that this long amount of time where it was showing correctionary play. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 periods, and in the 6th of showing strength amongst the highs. And I talked about that before. Yeah, what does it mean? Yeah, it doesn't mean, take it for what it's worth, but it still means a lot to me. And thus, things that could happen amongst weak resistance, if it's such as a small pullback, in this case, maybe at most, maybe a 40% pullback. And that's not much, 40%. Oh yeah, we go back to like 12,000 from like 20 back down to 12. Then we go back up to 20, maybe do whatever. Then later go to 40, 60, whatever is sideways, down 20% or whatever, lower. And that's one of the things, just consolidating sideways. Maybe we range between 16 and 20 or 22, or even, establish a little bit bigger of a high, but not quite break it. Those are things that could happen too. And then, of course, just convincingly break it, which is something I've already shown. And we're going to be seeing it again, well, right now. Convincingly breaking past this level. That's just been a nice move. So it's overextended, but it isn't overextended with a phenomenal final push move either. I mean, it's got the capability, I would think, of having some big moves. I mean, this thing has just been going up like, wow, on the daily term time frame. We got this high that came in here in October, corrected it successfully, leg 2. And even this is the top of leg 2, leg 3. And this is that spot again when I talk about you can barely break above it. Well, here it is right there. And then now there's a convincing move to its next leg higher. Crossing over to the 4-hour term. And here's that little situation of barely getting above it and then supporting this level of resistance at around 15,960. You resist it here, correctionary phase, nice big bull pullback, but no, not really. In fact, not really to the point that it go back to where it came from, no. And that's some of the things I think you can notice in charts. The failure to come back to where you came from is a very bullish thing. A question mark, I think it is. When you see something like this, because you have this high, a great move above here, and then you do not even hit the upper end, which is like here. I mean, it did here, but I mean, that was like a burst off, whatever. I don't know what word to use, but I think I'll use that for now. And I'm not going to use it again for this term because I'm done talking about that part. But from here, you come down and then you have this great move to the 18 where you take little time to get to the 18 average of highs. You correct another higher low move and then just a phenomenal play. I'm like 100% convinced that this is pretty much 20,000 and relatively soon into, oh my goodness. Good. I don't know what to expect here because it could be wild, turbulent times. We should be expecting some sort of resistance, but we'll see when we get there, because if you don't get resistance and support where you're supposed to, especially in a spot like that. Wow, because we're talking longer term time frames. I'm now in the 1 hour. Let me just change this to get the tether on here. Okay, because I'll get better data for the shorter term. And this is all raw data. I mean, on long-term stuff, I mean, I didn't, but I did prepare because I knew the charts. And yeah, I've looked over the last couple of days too. A lot of established support here at 1703s. 1, 2, 3 times hit. And then a decent amount of a level above it. We'll call that like a basement floor or something. I don't know, but like this is like your foundation of your building. You can see is like the ground floor, like where the dirt and everything is. It's like 17,568. And we'll ignore all this, and there's like your like ceiling trying to go to the penthouse, I guess. But as it goes within the 18, the story amongst this, it's been correcting these moves very, very well. And now we have what is another possible opportunity to break above this. And as I'm doing this live, it's getting a little closer, but another opportunity where the first opportunity came back in here. And it's the retracement from key high, which is this one here. And we'll see it more clearly, I suppose, on the 15 and shorter, with the time frame that is. But on the 21 stamp, a high of 18,000. Okay, why not? That's 18,005. We'll round it. 18,059. We'll do some fib. And we divide that, and this linear would work relatively well for this too. I mean, it would do the exact same numbers. But for what? It's the exact same either way, so I might as well just do it this way all the time, which is high divided by low. 17,336 on the round. Okay. Didn't get her. Okay, let's just do it again. 18,059. So high divided by low to the exponents of these numbers, 0.382 and so on and so forth. And these are the key numbers I'm looking for. For the first move, first number is 17,504. And I haven't put I don't know what they're going to look like. I'm just going to go like this and see what the results happen to come into play for. So 17,504 is what I'll type in. And the next key number after that would be 17,609. I might as well put all 4 of them in. 17,770. Oh my goodness, that's 2 digits off from that number that I just, the slot machine number that I put in. Whatever. That's just as it is. That's obviously above that number right now. So it's, ooh, we violated it, fail move, yada yada. That happens, you know what, just for fun. Let's just go like that, just because I can. And then the final one, 17,886, and we're barely above that now. And it's nicely breaking above the highs. I mean, yeah, of course it's going to go. All right, anyway. Let's just see how these numbers will look on the shorter term and how many times I'll say, yeah, that was luck that it did that, because it always is. Maybe I won't this time and not saying, oh yeah, that was luck. But anyway, next time frame, 15-minute. Look at the strength it shows on the 18 highs like that, and how you're seeing the breakout come like pretty much this period to last as it was breaking past this established on the 7-hour stamp. I mean, you can see how we support rather than resistance that resist the second key fib. We blasted through the first, and then after going through this, oh yeah, and then it pierced above. That was just luck that it basically did that, like I say. And now we're at this key level where we should be resisting or blasting through later from this point. I kind of think that this is weak resistance here in the sense of this time frame, that the best we're going to do is correct successfully within the 18 or any pullbacks. I mean, obviously whatever happens. 5-minute time frame. Let's just see clearly amongst these fibs here. Fibs here. Resistance. A few days going, or a few periods, days, yeah, whatever. But that's exactly it with these time frames. It all works the same whether you're looking at, for the most part, for these things like and how you read the market charts. But after it breaks out above the 18 average of highs, but this is phenomenal 5-hour, 45-minute move, up 1% within the 5. Correct for 3 periods at that level of resistance. So this is just where you grind it through time. Convincing move. You're like, oh, wait a second here. Why is it? And this is interesting because like it's supposed to go this fib, but yet it doesn't pierce last. Why did it do that? Maybe that move hasn't happened yet, which is the case. It comes back to where you came from. One of the interesting strategies are sometimes it wins, sometimes it loses. This would be the time where it would win, where you wait for a key break, and you're going to see this at like 17.861. It's so hard to bet on these things on the perfect time on the break above, and then it can be difficult. Especially with how fast these markets move and it breaks key barriers and key levels, because everyone or not everyone, but a lot of people are seeing the same things, especially when you got multiple different ways of seeing the same things. Like I use this and that, and they use this Fibonacci this and this escalator that and whatever. I know there's no escalator, but you get the point. Maybe there is, and I don't know, because I don't even really go through many of these other indicators. With that being said, you see this, oh my goodness, okay, well this key level was 17,609, let's put a buy over there. Well, it would have hit on this 625 stamp. And then how you doing now from that point? I mean, but sometimes it's just going to go way up and it's going to miss and you don't get your buy order in. And if it's a failed breakout, you're always going to buy. So just keep that in mind within a strategy like that. But there we go. It hits this resistance point, piercing extra in the 7 stamp, correcting well within the 18 for multiple periods. 745 stamp, hitting it again, higher lowing it. And then we have it hitting again at the 805. This time, bye-bye. Towards this area of play. The status is breakout, and we're not really resisting this. Look at this. We're having this clear breakout above this point. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to be really curious now just to see what alts might be doing over the next last few minutes if this thing just goes crazy now, because when this thing goes up, at least up until the 20, altcoins may not be doing so well against Bitcoin. 1 minute term time frame, this resistance that really hasn't been much. Well, in the 1 minute I can see it was for maybe 5 or so minutes. But it's 17,945 as at 8 hours, 27 minutes, 29, which is 5 hours short of UTC time. Let's now switch on to the Bitcoin Cash A. The only place I can see it traded on Binance, BCHA against the BUSD. And as far as some of these coins in here, Dash is up against Bitcoin, 2% against the Bitcoin. DGB down a bit. Everything not really doing much. LITECOIN up, it's been doing well, and I got to make a few sells on that, but it hasn't changed for me. It was 7% up an hour ago or half hour ago when I looked at it last. In fact, it was hour ago, it was up 6%, and 30 minutes ago it was up 7. Theta is up 1.3. That's nice. But this one here, BCHA BUSD. Did they add another letter? No, BUSD is a code. Yeah. So BCHA is the left tracking right here, and BUSD is the other, which is a US dollar point. Okay. So then let's see what we got here. The market. So it's a 1 minute time frame. It's Stephen Touche. Came out in here. When it came out, this is what I don't like overall about. I mean, I could nitpick any type of website if I want to, so why not? within Binance. Because basically what I did is, before my hydro went out, I knew I needed to get the, I pretty much put every single Bitcoin Cash that I had on Binance. And then my hydro goes out Sunday afternoon. It didn't come back until yesterday. And then it went out again for a while. Then it came back again, and it's been fine. It was only out for 10-15 minutes the second time. With that being said, it would have been nice if they would have said, okay, November 18th, 6 a.m., and I would have been able to see it somewhere. Maybe I had to go to Twitter and read or whatever, but I was logging onto the page and then have your coins available for a significant period of time before you open up the market, things like that. I would check my wallet. I would search my coins by coins, because I realized that there's no market for it. I know its value would say 0. And I know exactly how many BCH I had. Plus, I just sort of was with it because. So yesterday I searched. Oh, okay, I got 29.75, and I was very underwhelmed, or it was underwhelming. There's that word I would use again, to see that it was only worth pretty much this price, because I was seeing around here. So I sold a little bit at this around the 23 average price. I sold some around 23 and change and 22 and change. And then I put some sellers in, only one hit. 29.75 was my next sell order, which was pretty cool because the high here was 29.90. So I got 15 cents from the high. And I bought it back at 23. But this is how I'm buying it back. And it's just easy. I don't know what to do with it, so I figured let's do it this way. I owned X amount of BCH, which is a great number to use. The amount of BCHA that I own plus the buy orders for future BCHA I want to get is equal to X. Meaning, every single time I sell, okay, I sell 1 or 5 or 200 or 1,000,000, and it's not 1,000,000, and it's definitely more than 1. Well, then I'll, or maybe a smaller order might be 1, but you can get the whole point. I have noticeably more than 1 BCH, nowhere near 1,000,000. So with that being said, say I sell 5 or 20. Then I'm going to buy that 5 or 20 back at that lower price. But then I'll have extra BUSD. And what do I do with that? Well, what I did with it today is I bought Bitcoin. And also I got to sell it at 20,000-ish. And then I'm going to put into some sort of altcoin at that point. We'll see what I do. I just don't know which one. And then at that level, maybe Tezos, which is what I was really thinking about adding into, is Tezos. If Theta goes down a bit more, maybe a bit of that as well. But I got my buy orders all the way down to 12. So if the price goes down to $12, then at least as of how my trades are set up now, I'll have exactly, 3% more. I'm just going to round it to an even number. But I'll pretty much have the exact same amount of Bitcoin Cash that I had of this BCHA when they gave it to me originally. And then every single time I get a sell and a buyback, oh, I got an extra $20 or $50 or however much it might be. Okay, what do I want to do with it? And I'll figure something to do with it. So that's just one mechanism for now for what I'm going to be doing with that. So thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.